In 2 Kings 1 verse 10, Elijah answered and said to the captain of the 50, If I be a man of God, then let fire come down from heaven and consume thee and thy 50. And there came down fire from heaven and consumed him and his 50. When God's servant speaks, the wise listen. Deuteronomy 18 verse 22.
Elohim, mighty God, lives in us. In the month of September 2020, wise man Daniel was led by the Spirit of God to give a message of prophecy concerning young people, especially youths all over the world committing suicide in various ways. He further stated that they would be hearing voices that they would not be able to resist or control, telling them to do harm to themselves. These were his words.
In my revelation, I could see that the love for the things of God is fading away in the hearts of young people today because of their love for their handsets. What they watch and do with their handsets. And those things make them become extremely depressed because it is the spirit of depression. Because it is the spirit of depression. And what God showed me is that if young ladies, young men, young people don't return to God and begin to have heart for God, by next year 2021, mark my words, their love for their handsets or electronic gadgets will lead them to acquiring. Severe spirit of depression and thoughts of suicide will be common among young people. I explained further. I said here, they will be experiencing strong and irresistible voices telling them to carry out the following devilish activities of destruction on themselves. Telling them to carry out the following devilish activities of destruction on themselves. I repeat, telling them to carry out the following devilish acts of destructions on themselves. 1, kill yourself. A voice. You can't resist it. Only God can rescue you. When it possesses you, you see death as easiest way for comfort. It's a deceptive spirit. You want to go, you want to go, you want to go, you want to go, you want to go. When it enters you like this, you become hyperactive. You want to go, you want to go. You become, everything about you will be irritating you. Everything about your family will be irritating you. The next thing is death. It's a voice. God. Only God. I repeat number 1. Remember I told you, let me repeat here so that I take note. Severe spirit of depression and thoughts of suicide will be common among young people. They will be hearing strong and irresistible voices telling them to carry out the following devilish acts of destructions on themselves. 1, kill yourself by any means at your reach. 2, undress yourself and go out naked. Start misbehaving. This is mental problem or madness. This will be very common among youths. This will be very common among youths. This will be very common among youths. Take note of that.
When God's servant speaks, the wise listen. Deuteronomy 18 verse 22.
Such a sad week, the news of the death of rapper Ricardo Mercado, popularly known as Ricky Rick, just 34 years old, an extraordinarily talented musician. And we are losing so many bright lights in our entertainment industry. Cooley Roberts recently, and then of course before that, actor Patrick Shy. So real concerns this evening about what is happening and why we are losing people. Certainly Ricky Rick died by his own hand, as did Patrick Shy. But let's take a look back now at the life of Ricky Rick.
A rapper, songwriter, singer, composer, actor, and fashion designer. These are just some of the many talents that Ricardo Mercado will be remembered for. On Tuesday, the artist popularly known as Ricky Rick posted this message on Twitter. That's the last time his fans heard from him. Mercado was allegedly found by friends at his home, having died by hanging. News of his death has been received with shock. Industry peers and fans have been taking to social media to pay tribute to him, some even sharing their encounters with him. The summer-nominated rapper rose to fame in 2014 after releasing his single Nafukwa. His debut studio album Family Values was certified platinum by RISA, the recording industry of South Africa. Mercado also founded the hip-hop festival Cotton Fest in 2019, which was set to make a comeback this year. But amid the limelight, the 34-year-old was also open about his fight with depression.
I've suffered from depression, chronic depression,
And those things make them become extremely depressed because it is the spirit of depression.
I've suffered from, a lot of mental anxieties that I don't like to share too much because it's like something I want to deal with internally.
He leaves behind his wife, 2 children, a mother, and 5 siblings. In a statement, the Mercado family has thanked the country for its messages of support and has asked for privacy as they try to come to terms with his death. His tragic passing has once again shone a spotlight on the need for mental health awareness and support.
We'll catch you guys on the other side. It's your boy Ricky Rick. If you never hear from me again, I love you. God bless you. Good night.
Severe spirit of depression and thoughts of suicide will be common among young people.
It's a little bit worrisome for the future. So this is the reason why we need to monitor it, maybe change our way of doing intervention.
Quebec saw an increase in hospitalizations among teen girls for suicide ideation and suicide attempts in 2021, according to Quebec's National Institute for Public Health. Experts say the data is worrisome. Last year, the number of girls ages 15 to 19 hospitalized for attempting to take their own lives rose by 23%.
One of the reasons that could explain this situation is that maybe the young girls are seeking more help. This is taken more seriously by doctors in emergency rooms.
Despite high hospitalization numbers, teenage girls have one of the lowest suicide rates in the province.
We had more programs to be able to spot young people in distress in the schools. Family doctors were better trained to react when they notice signs of mental distress among teenagers. And the faster you intervene with a young person, the less impact it will have for the remainder of their life.
Experts say the province's suicide rate has been declining for 20 years, but seems to have reached a plateau. The pandemic could be responsible for that.
Some may experience PTSD. This is something that has been experience in others pandemic throughout the world.
The Quebec government announced last week that it plans to invest almost $1.2 billion over the next 5 years to treat mental health and improve access to care. But experts say that's not enough.
Even before the pandemic situation, mental health units and psychiatry units in hospitals were already at their full capacity. If you want to talk to psychologists in the public sector, it's at least 1 year waiting to be able to do it. So in the meantime, what doctors do, they prescribe drugs so you can reduce the symptoms, but you don't cure people with drugs when it comes to mental health.
There were at least 1,016 suicides in Quebec in 2020, and men were 3 times more likely to commit the act than women. Men aged 50 to 64 recorded the highest suicide rate, according to the coroner's office. Experts say it's important to pay attention and speak to your teen.
If you notice that suddenly their discourse becomes pessimistic, they have a big grudge against their life and they don't see a foreseeable future, those might be signs.
If you have thoughts of suicide, call Suicidal Montréal at 1-66277-3553 or text 1-855-957-5353. For children, call Kids Help Phone at 1-800-668-6868 or text 686-868. In Montreal, Brittany Enriquez, City News.
When God's servant speaks, the wise listen. Deuteronomy 18, verse 22.